This is East meets West. You know him as the host of Talking Politics and Religion Without Killing Each Other, and the second most important person to hail from Freehold, New Jersey, Mr. Corey Nathan, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Corey?
Nice to see you, Rick. And he is the 7-time Emmy-winning broadcast journalist, born and raised in beautiful Los Angeles, Rick Garcia. It's great to be with you, Rick.
Corey, good to see you. World Series behind us now. Some calling it the best World Series ever. The Los Angeles Dodgers come from behind to beat the Toronto Blue Jays 4-3. Best ever, or is that putting too much on it?
I don't know if it was the best ever, but when I was watching it, and especially with the playoffs leading up to the 7-game World Series, I was thinking that this is a series we'll be watching documentaries about it, 30 for 30s or something along those lines, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, and still remembering the way we remembered at least moments, the way Kirk Gibson hit his home run in Game 1 of the '88 series. There are definitely moments in this series where I thought we're going to be talking about this not just for years, but for decades to come.
Saying the greatest ever, that's I think for people with a short memory, right? And I couldn't tell you what the greatest ever. I know those Yankees-Dodgers battles, Bobby Welch 78, facing Reggie Jackson, three strikeouts of Jackson in one game and the 3 home runs in another game by Jackson. So I don't know that you can say this is the greatest ever, but as World Series go, in recent memory, at least recently, it has been probably the most exciting. Wouldn't you agree?
I would say so. I mean, just going to a Game 7, that's your first benchmark to have a historic series. But again, you had certain moments. Game 2, was it? Or which game was 18 innings?
Game 3, yours truly happened to be at that game.
How about that?
So think about it. It was really an 8-game World Series.
That's right.
You're keeping track.
You had a bench clearing, not quite brawl, but
almost right
incident.
Never see that.
Yeah, you had a walk-off home run in that 18-inning game from Freddie Freeman. Steps up to the plate. You had a historic pitching performance, Yoshinobu. I mean, we'll be talking about that performance. And accordingly, along with 24 years ago now, Randy Johnson's performance when the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees in the 2001 World Series.
So here was my problem with the World Series this year. Not the series itself, but the fans of the teams, especially Dodger fans. I had to talk so many people off the cliff when the Dodgers went down 3-2. You would have thought the world was ending. And I had to remind people, talk to Cubs fans, talk to Mets fans like yourself, talk to Yankees fans, talk to Brewers fans, you pick the team. If you're going to be down on a team that makes a World Series appearance but doesn't win it, and I know the expectations are high for the Dodgers, I mean, that you disappoint me as a fan, right? I mean, think about all the teams that don't even get there. Right. And to get there, that's hard enough as it is. To defend, that's even harder. The Dodgers were trying to win 2 straight. Were they supposed to win? Yes, but it doesn't work that way. And thus the expression, that's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And listen, the Dodgers gave you every reason to believe, at least in the playoffs, not in the regular season, because they had a tepid regular season. But in the playoffs, when they started playing other teams, they were showing how good they were. They were showing what they were setting themselves up to do this entire regular season, holding starters back and getting them ramped up just in the right time. Yeah. All those future Hall of Famers. Come on, it was set up that way. So when they came up against a Toronto Blue Jays team that has stars of their own, has some future Hall of Famers of their own.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Also has some surprise standouts. One of their best pitchers was a guy that started in Single A this year. Yeah. So they were, to your point, you have to, that's why they play the games.
Well, okay. So, and part of the issue for Dodgers fans is watching their team plow through the other teams in the playoffs. I mean, they destroyed Milwaukee and Philadelphia and
Yeah.
Cincinnati,
Yeah.
and people weren't even paying attention to Toronto, which is completely unfair. I mean, they had one of the better records in baseball, won their division, dispatched the Yankees, loaded with some decent players. You know, I mean, Vladimir Guerrero is not chop livered. Bo Bichette. Those are, by the way, two guys whose fathers I covered back in the day when they were members of the Angels. And then there's, of course, cheating George Springer.
That's true.
That poor guy. They don't let up on him at all at Dodger Stadium. And so decent team, right? And all these guys do is they scrap. I mean, they get base hits. That's all they're trying to do is advance the runner. You know, the Dodgers get up sometimes, and I will tell you in that 18-inning game, game three that I was at, it was exhausting. I imagine for the players, but even for the fans. And I could watch the Will Smiths get up, and the Mookie Betts, and those guys get up and they're swinging for the fence in inning 14 and 15 and 16. They're just trying to end the game, which Freddie eventually did. But I think that's why they prolonged it. You know, they weren't trying to just slap the ball around, move a runner around, and end this thing early.
What was the feeling like in the stadium, at Dodger Stadium? Because I would imagine, I mean, listen, you go through that lineup, and yeah, you have the MVPs at the top, plus Will Smith, you know, at the top of that order as well. Yeah. And then, you know, 5 through 9, you have all of these guys who have plenty of playoff experience, World Series champions, Edman and Max Muncy, and one after the other for an entire game. You're not hitting it. But then also the other side of it, when you're pitching, you got to be thinking, man, if there's an Achilles heel of this team, it's the bullpen.
Sure.
We're going to run out of luck at a certain point, aren't we?
All great points. And it was eating up Dodger fans inside. And I would try to remind everybody, and they just love to beat up Dave Roberts, who all he's ever done is win, you know, a National League championship pennants year after year after year, make some good decisions. You know what? Everybody forgets a year ago, the bullpen was the MVP for the Dodgers winning the World Series. Blake Trinan was a hero a year ago, and he was just trying to get some of that out of Blake one more time as we got to the end of the season and the beginning of the playoffs. But then what happened? It was the complete opposite. The starters this season and these playoffs were the stars. And they rode to the championship with the starters this time. They couldn't rely on the bullpen. And so if you think about it, what Dave had to do was masterful. I mean, to not have any starting pitching a year ago and wins the World Series, not having any relief pitching this season and wins the World Series, he was the ultimate chess master in my opinion.
He made every perfect call at exactly the right time. The defensive replacement. That and then of course the ball finds you, right?
Yeah, Pages, who was benched, you know, all of a sudden here comes the ball as both Pages and Kike Hernandez were playing shallow in the outfield in hopes of throwing somebody out at the plate. The ball almost goes over their head, which would have been disastrous. And Pages, who could have been mopey, goes out there and saves the team.
That's right. That's right. That could have been the Dodgers equivalent of what was it? Who was the first baseman for the '86 Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean the Mr. Between his legs.
Yeah, between his legs. I should
Bill
know
Buckner.
this off the top of my head.
I know Bill Buckner, by the way, former Dodger.
Buckner.
Yeah,
there you
former
go.
Dodger, and I'm.
It could have been the Dodgers Buckner moment, but yeah, that's right. Buckner played for the Dodgers.
He did. Yes.
So I do have a question for you to put this in historical perspective. This is getting way ahead of ourselves. How many future Hall of Famers do you think are on that Dodgers World Series roster?
So great. That's a great question. And by the way, that is, if you want to know why the Dodgers won the World Series, that's the answer. It's because this team was built, I mean, on paper, the way this team is built, they should win a couple of more before things are over. And so as it stands now, we know Ohtani's going to be in the Hall. I think Yamamoto just put himself in the Hall of Fame just now with the performance this season. Both of those guys who are combined are paid more than $1 billion. Both deserve raises. Yeah, that's how important that they are to this team. But if you go through the lineup, Ohtani leads off. He's a Hall of Famer. Mookie, who got bounced around because he was really struggling, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Freddie Freeman is going to be in the Hall of Fame. I think in time, Will Smith might find his way into the Hall of Fame. He has just been flying under the radar in Los Angeles. So I think.
And don't forget Dave Roberts as a manager.
Dave Roberts will be there. Blake Snell will likely be in the
Do-
Hall of Fame.
So
So,
you can make an argument because he's won
yeah,
the two Cy Youngs. I think he has a ways to go. I think he needs another good,
two
at
Cy
least
Youngs is not enough to get you into the Hall of
not
Fame. I think
yet,
that's pretty good,
not yet.
and a World Series. He's got at least one World Series.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So may give me another 3 years of standout
Wow,
pitching.
you have some high standards, Mister.
Well, I mean, Clayton Kershaw, of course, is a future Hall of Famer. Even though he only had that, did he? Was it the only the one hitter that he pitched to in this series?
Yeah, he only pitched a one hitter. That was the 18-inning game, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he came in and got that guy out.
But a future Hall of Famer nonetheless.
Another Hall of Famer. They sent him out in style. So great World Series. I don't know if it was the best of all time, but certainly one of the more exciting, one of the more dramatic World Series. And you got to give a lot of credit. I know that one of those great sports cliches you hear the coaches and players do. You got to give the Toronto Blue Jays credit. I mean that was a team that really, again, I use the word scrappy, would not go away. And if they would have won the World Series, that kid Clement would have, in my opinion, would have been the most valuable player.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he
He had
certainly
more
hit
hits,
his way
I think,
into
than
the
anybody.
conversation.
Right. Exactly, through the playoffs. And, we always look at the big 3-run bomb as being important. But, I mean, this guy was on base every time I turned around and was driving the Dodgers nuts.
Yeah, I didn't give them enough credit coming into the playoffs. I'll tell you that much. But then that series against Seattle definitely.
So Yoshi Yamamoto, I mean, he's the most valuable player, and I knew that would be the case. People were talking about, well, Will Smith because he hit the game-winning home run, and like I said, we tend to be in love with home runs in the power game. But this is a pitching performance that just doesn't come around that often. I mean, he had 3 wins as a pitcher in the World Series. He pitched Game 6, won that game after winning Game 2 in a complete game performance, and then comes in to close out and win Game 7. I mean, you talk about pitchers with a rubber arm. He's the guy. And he was also warming up in the bullpen in that 18-inning game. He asked Roberts if he could come in if they needed him. So, I mean, this guy was incredible. Nobody's earned the most valuable player award more than this guy.
72 innings of catching in the span of a week. Can you imagine? My knees hurt just thinking about it.
For Will Smith, you mean?
Yeah, for Will Smith.
That's just incredible. So, hats off to the Dodgers. Another pennant for them. We'll see what happens. I look forward to the offseason when you and I are talking about what's going to happen with the Mets and see if there's anything that they can do to try to have an opportunity to get into the big games in October. Let's talk about the NFL. It's a good time to talk about midseason report.
Sure.
Entering week 10 now. Here are the teams at the top of the list who I find intriguing, and I want to know from you if they are for real. New England and Indianapolis. New England and Indianapolis. Both lead their divisions. What's your thinking on that?
So, my first job when I got licensed to be a stockbroker when I was all of 19 years old, if you can believe it. One of the first things you learn as a stockbroker is you buy low, sell high. You don't buy high, it's sell low. With Indianapolis Colts, you're on the wrong side of that equation. I think they will get into the playoffs, but they will lose to any one of 3 of the AFC West teams in the first game of the playoffs if they face them. I'm just not buying Indianapolis Colts. New England, I think, is a different story. I think they have a better quarterback that's a little bit under the radar. They're certainly a very, very well-coached team. Vrabel has them well-trained. You look for key signs, penalties, turnovers. It's the little things, and I think that's where New England is proving their worth. That said, I still think Buffalo wins that division by the end of the season.
I'm with you on that. I think, certainly I think Indy is I think an appropriate division champion. I think they're and they won't. I don't think they're going to be an easy out necessarily if and when they get to the playoffs. New England, on the other hand, I think could be more realistic just for the reasons you suggested, that Mike Vrabel being the case. But that's just a tough conference, and I think both of them have a lot to be excited about. But I think both Indianapolis and New England are short some players, and I think that when they can fill in those gaps in the offseason, we can find out how real they are if they're competitive again next season. I think both of them could be. New England more likely. Now,
What do you think? Before we move on, what do you think
uh-huh.
of the Denver Broncos? Do you think their fourth quarter magic can be translated to 4 quarters of magic? They're also a very well
Yeah.
coached team.
Here's why. Their defense is outstanding.
Yeah.
And they always say defense wins championships. And that's true, I think, for the most part, until you meet a buzzsaw of an offense, right? I don't know how for real they are. I wonder if offensively they're still missing some key players, and what's going to happen when they run up against the Kansas Cities, the Buffalo Bills, when you get down to the nitty gritty. I'm and as we talk about some of the other teams involved, like the Philadelphias, who are the defending champs, and the Chiefs, the question is, will they be there? I think they'll both be possibly in their conference championships. I think even though the Chiefs have had a rough time, it's just hard to duplicate what they've tried to duplicate.
Yeah.
So the question is, you know, how do the other teams fare against those teams who've been there and done that, and know how to do it?
Yeah. I I believe that the young quarterback Bo Nix is for real. He's not surrounded by rock
Mm-hmm.
stars, but he has he.
I love
I,
him. I
I
love him.
wouldn't
I
I wouldn't
he,
necessarily put him in the same class of as Mahomes and
no, not yet.
but
Not yet.
but he's certainly a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the league right
By
now.
the way, just if you're going to bring up Mahomes, he will be, by the time he's done, could be our greatest quarterback of all time, finally passing Tom Brady, who surpassed Joe Montana. So that's where Mahomes is. Bo Nix, I mean, you can't really mention him in the same breath with those guys,
Yeah.
but I have to tell you, when he was coming out of college, he was my favorite quarterback coming out of college. I was kind of hoping the Rams would get their hands on him somehow, some way. They play a conservative, a little bit more
Yeah.
conservative kind of an offense, which surprises me with Peyton, their head coach. I think he's doing that because he's got a young quarterback.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
and
That's
you
right.
know, and until he becomes Drew Brees, which is what Sean Payton's used to, and could become Drew Brees. I think that he's more of a game manager at the moment, but he's got the potential, I think, to carry the offense on his shoulders. I like him a lot. I think they're going to be the tough out in the AFC.
Yeah.
The usual suspects we know are going to be there, but I think Denver's the one you don't want to play.
Yeah, they're a dangerous team. I don't see them going all the way to the Super Bowl, but they're a dangerous team. If I'm the Chargers, for example, I don't want to catch them in the first. I forget how it plays out if you could play in division in that wild card game, but I wouldn't want to catch them in the first round of the playoffs.
And then finally, the NFC West. Talk about teams you don't want to play.
Oh boy.
You've got the Rams, the 49ers, and Seattle. We don't know yet what Seattle's made of. Right now, they're beating people up. They look strong.
Yeah.
But here's how we're going to find out how good they are. Those three teams are all going to play each other for these last 10 games. And so they're going to beat each other up as they try to earn their way to the playoffs. That's what makes it tough. If the playoffs started today, the NFC West would have three teams in the playoffs, those three. But again, they're going to play each other, and there are going to be some losses there. And so we'll see how that all plays out as we get closer to the playoffs.
Well, as we know, the Rams are a November team. We're already seeing improvement from the beginning of the season. They've been a November team under this coaching staff and this quarterback. Seattle, I believe Darnold is a stronger quarterback than what he was as recently as 2 years ago. So he's proven his worth from last year, his emergence,
Yeah.
and this year he's proving some strength as a quarterback. But I think at the end of the day, the Rams are going to come out on top. Seattle and this iteration of the 49ers, not so sure about. It's a coin flip. I think the 49ers have some weaknesses, some holes in their roster. But I do think that the Rams are going to emerge from the NFC West.
Well, we'll see. I'm fingers crossed that you're right. As a Rams fan,
Meanwhile, we're not talking about the Jets and the Giants. So thanks
we
for.
you notice we haven't. Yeah. Oh my! May they rest in peace. All right, ready for pop that culture?
Let's do it.
There's we mentioned you're from Freehold, New Jersey. We've had a few people of let's just say who are renowned who've come from that part of the world.
That's right.
There's a new movie out called Deliver Me from Nowhere. It's the biopic about the great Bruce Springsteen. I'm guessing you're going to see that. I will eventually see that. But let me tell you why I have a problem with biopics like this one. It's no disrespect to Springsteen and that wonderful cast, but I don't want to see movies where people are still alive. I just don't. I mean, like Rocket Man with Elton John, and
Did we see that together, by the way? Did we see Rocket Man together?
I don't know. I don't know. Did we?
Yeah, I was
I
unimpressed
don't
with that
remember.
movie.
Well, here's my point. There wasn't whether it was good or bad. My only point is that, like in the case of the Queen movie,
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody, they were talking about a story where, the Queen is while they still tour and stuff, that was kind of the end of the story for them when
Right.
Freddie Mercury died.
Right.
And so, I mean, I hear they're even making a movie about Britney Spears.
Oh, come on.
And while I find, or at least they're in the process of starting to do the groundwork for possibly making that movie. I think what's happening is I think some of the writers and producers are getting a little lazy, and they're like, "All right, let's grab this book about Springsteen or Dylan," and I enjoyed the Dylan movie. I just kind of feel like they're not done yet. So why are they going to have to do a part two? I mean, when one of them gets hit by a bus,
I thought the one
outside of
about
Freehold?
Dylan was a little bit better because it was a moment in time that they were capturing, and they were portraying characters. Pete Seeger in particular, that portrayal was incredible in that movie. I can't wait to see this movie because again, it's not a complete biography so much as a moment in time. And that Atlantic City album, man, that especially where it was placed in his series of albums. You had Born to Run coming out, and then you had Born in the USA, and these, the biggest rock star in the world, and now you have this guy sitting in a room doing acoustic. Talk about, I mean, doing his. He was continuing the conversation with America that started with Pete Seeger and the Weavers and Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan and that Greenwich Village scene, and he was continuing that conversation with his in the middle of biggest rock star in the world moment for him. So I like the idea of capturing that moment.
Who's the greatest artist to ever come out of New Jersey, in your opinion?
Well, it's a long list. I mean, because we got Frank Sinatra coming out of Hoboken, we got Bruce coming out of Freehold, New Jersey, we got the Blues Traveler, we got Bon Jovi. I mean, I could go on.
Did you put Blues Traveler up with the rest of those guys?
Well, Blues Traveler are my homies. They grew up 2 towns away from us. So
I'm not saying they're bad, but we're talking about the
Bruce
Boss.
Springsteen.
We're
I
talking
know.
about Frank Sinatra. We're talking about. Did you say Dylan too?
No. Dylan's not from Jersey. Dylan's from, I think, Minnesota.
Oh, that's right. He's from the Midwest. Yeah.
Bobby Zimmerman.
Bon Jovi, of course, is terrific. I mean, there's Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Were
That's
they
right.
Jersey or were they New York?
No. They were from the Jersey side.
All right, Jersey boys. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Okay, Blues Travelers.
Blues Traveler, baby. Yeah, they were seniors in high school when I was a freshman, and I got to enjoy them playing backyard keggers, these high school and college parties when we were that age before they got, they opened up for the Allman Brothers and the Jerry Garcia band before they really got big. So
Listen.
they hold a special place in my heart. I
get
know
it.
they're not in the same class as Bruce, but they're definitely up there for me.
That's my point. I think even they would say, you're putting us in a category with all those incredible superstars. They might say, thanks a lot, Corey, for doing that. Yeah.
Well, what I will say about Blues Traveler, since we're talking about it, is there were a bunch of different bands and musicians coming out of that era, and very few have the musicality that Blues Traveler. I think you could put Dave, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his last name? Great musician who plays with jazz musicians, sometimes a horn section. Why can't I think of his name?
Well, I don't know, but let me ask you this: why does so much talent come out of Jersey? I mean, what is it about the roots there that creates all these stories and these wonderful songs? Well, I mean, why just there? I mean, I know that there are people, and artists that come from all over the place. Boston, I know, has a great city and for lots of musical artists that come out of there. But Jersey's kind of pretty close to the top of the list there, wouldn't you say?
It is. So Dave Matthews is who I was thinking of. Sorry. But to finish that point, my point is that, and I'll answer your question, but my point is that You had other bands like Black Crowes and Spin Doctor that were great, good jam bands. But the musicality of Blues Traveler and Dave Matthews is just next level. Yeah, they're not the rock stars that Bruce was at his peak, but you got to give them a lot of credit. Now, to answer your question about Jersey,
thank you, Senator.
I haven't. I'm not am I filibustering? Is that what
yes, you are.
So to answer that question, I haven't thought about that. It's an interesting question. Here's a theory that I would float that I'd love to test. And it's because the world enters into the ports of New York and New Jersey. And we get the ultimate melting pot of the world there. And the next generation is where you get the artists, you get the poets, you get the musicians, you get the painters. It is influenced by the world. And oftentimes only one and Popper is a great example. John Popper is a great example. He's one generation removed, if I remember correctly, from a Polish immigrant. Or no, Czechoslovakian immigrant, but Eastern European. So you get the influence of the world and a generation removed. So I don't know. There's something there. That's my working theory for now. I got to tease it out a little bit more. What do you think?
I think it's a great theory. I would support that 100%.
My brother would simplify it. He would say, you know why? Because we're the best. That's why.
Okay. And with that, you ready to say goodbye?
I am.
All right. Sounds good. I'm Rick Garcia. He's Corey Nathan. It's East meets West. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget to let everyone know you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Baby got